You doing today? Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and spend with us. I hope you're going to feel inspired. Obviously, go and look in the wonderful shop. Of course, we've got the brilliant Imala stamps. But what I want to show you today is some simple techniques that you can take away with you. Now, whether you've used texture paste, pearly paints, acrylics, whatever your specialised medium is, you can still use these techniques with that. So it's incredible to be able to do that. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's joining me on YouTube as well, especially Wendy. Can't believe that you're listening to me from Australia. And so my first port of call is I'm going to be using a few of the Pearly inks. Now these are beautiful. Multiple different ways you can use them. They will go on pretty much any material that you like, even fabric. You can iron them from reverse at 30 and then of course wash it at 40 as well. You can water them down as well. Absolutely brilliant. But first of all, what I want to show you is how to create a really quick and simple mixed media background. Now, whether you like mixed media or whether you're just sort of peeking in or whether you just like the effects, this is your shortcut home to creating that beautiful background that will just completely set fire to all your projects. Everyone will be like, oh, how did you do that? So, really simply, I'm just going to take some pink pearly paint and I'm just going to do a few little random blobs. And that's the beauty of being able to control it. It's not like you're getting a palette in there and wasting it as you go. You can really, really control it. I love the fact as well that with IZINK, they don't smell like traditional paints. A lot of traditional paints that are out there are very manufactured and you can smell that they're man-made. Because they're really quite eco, the smell are not the same. So it's not as got them sort of fumes, if you know what I mean. It's much, much nicer. So I'm just mixing in a couple along. So you can go quite random. Another really nice idea is you can compress on it as well if you want the much heavier dots. But I'm going to start using my palette to mix these together. So that's how you start. Really, really simple. Now I'm just going to turn the other camera around so everyone can see my hands. That might be a little bit easier. I know there's a tiny delay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flat palette knife. Now you can buy metal ones, they're brilliant, but these are plastic. So I find these much easier to wash. With the metal ones, you tend to get it ingrained right in that little bit, you know, where it moves on from the metal to the wood. So then you end up with a build-up of colour on there. And obviously that can mix. So I'm just going to go straight on. Now with these as well, you can go quite thick or you can thin it out as you go. You can mix your colours all together or you can create some amazing patterns. These are so much fun to work with. I do love a little 5x7 flat canvas. They're just beautiful. So of course you can do many different effects on this. So you can scrape across to create that beautiful sort of wish-washy effect. But then also you can go back in and create more texture on top and it dries like that as well. So I'm just going to scrape some along and just start building up this colour. So this is my base, if you like. And you can see how the colours, now I'm trying to stay away from my usual colours, which are pink and blue, because they are my absolute favourite, and all of my projects end up being pink and blue. So I'm trying a bit of purple and yellow today, do something a bit different. So I'm just going to scrape it across, nice and easy, and just remember on your edges to just scrape that excess off and just work along. Now the beauty of this, it will air dry it in about 20 minutes. So it's not one of them projects that you have to leave overnight, which really infuriates me because I want to get on with it. I don't like waiting for anything, to be honest. So it's quite nice that you can just go straight on. But then the beauty of this as well means that on that as well, I can easily add my heat tool and create more of effect. So already it's a bit like icing a cake, if you know what I mean. You can really go in and just get some really nice texture effects. So I'm just going to continue pushing this. Thank you, my darling. And then I'm going to heat set it. This will just keep it encapsulated, the colour. You can heat set it straight from. It dries so quickly. And I don't know if you can smell it from there, maybe not with your mask, but it doesn't smell chemical at all. It's really, really lovely to use. But I just love how iridescent and how shiny it can be, just mixing the colours together. So once you've got a layer on there of your base colour, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make it almost touch dry, and I'm going to stencil over the top with another colour on top of that. Then once we've got that layer on, we're going to add some of the amazing brand new glitters. Now I don't know if you've all seen them. They're right next to the teal. They come in the gold, the blue and the crystal, and they are phenomenal. They're multi-textured glitter, so you've got a bit of flaky glitter in there, but it's a real combination of beautiful, beautiful texture. So now I'm just adding a little bit more heat. It doesn't matter if it's not touch dry, because when we add the stencil, you will see very easily how you can ink over the top. Get a white. Oh, there we go. Now the trick to mix, now this is what happens. People think that it's too messy. A lot of people are like, oh no, too much paint, too messy. It's quite easy to keep clean. Just keep yourself a really good microfiber cloth and just keep cleaning in between. Usually, if I was at home, for instance, I would have a little washing up bowl full of water, and I would just chuck my stencils in there straight after, so it all comes straight off. It just makes it a lot more simpler. So now I'm going to go for a different colour. I'm going to go for the ice, which is more of a translucent, but it's more like a glaze. So now I've got my base colour. Adding this on top, thank you, will be incredible. So I'm just going to pop this on here. Now you can tape it down. It's entirely up to you. Do you want to come out? Come on. There we go. There we go. Sometimes it can be a bit, there we go. Perfect. So now using that, I'm just going to push it through. And you can be quite mixed with it. You can have like loads of it on. Lots of people tend to, when you first use texture paste or anything like this, people tend to go a bit gung-ho and put a lot on at once. Just try and thin it down and just drag it across, but sort of push as you go. Use that palette knife to do what it's supposed to do. So I'm just going to run that over, and I'm just going to pull that off to create some really, really lovely texture. And it just goes so far, really, really does. So once I've done that little bit of texture on there, I'm going to take that off. So I've got the mirror of the two together. So just keep wiping your hands in between, because otherwise you're going to start cross-contaminating all of your inks and paints. Right, let's grab this one. So now I'm just going to go in, take a little bit, pick this up, and I'm just going to finish the edges a bit more. So I'm just going to pull this round. And what this does is it sort of frames your work, because you're taking that silver and mixing it with the other colours that we have on there to just frame it up. Really, really simple. Just rotate. It's so lovely to use, and you can get some real grungy effects. And obviously it depends what your preferred style is. But you know me, I do love a mixed media canvas. Everyone's listening. I know. It's because I'm so noisy. Sorry, sweet. Thank you. So I'm just going to heat set this now, and I want it kind of lumpy. The reason why is I'm going to add more of that glitter on top. So this is how you start mixing everything together. So once I've done that, then I'm going to spray on top as well. Okay. So we just slightly dry that off. Now these are the glitters. These are incredible. Look at that. Isn't it magic in a pot? I love it. My daughter actually, we went out for afternoon tea the other day. It was magical. But she spotted this in my craft bag. Of course, Vaseline, it was all over her face. I was like, oh, I don't know if you're supposed to use it like that. But it looked brilliant and it's beautiful and iridescent. So I'm going to chuck some on. There we go. Just like so. And we shall just pour that down. I'm going to end up covered in glitter, aren't I? Lovely. So now I'm just going to give this a little heat set and just get rid of all that excess. So already you can see how the layers are starting to come together. The ones that are a bit more lumpy, you can use your finger to smooth if you prefer, rather than the palette. I quite like using, because you get a much more softer textured feel. That. So now I need my spray tray. As you're noticing, my spray boxes are getting bigger and bigger every time I demonstrate. It's because I end up bigger bits of paper, this, you know, so, but don't worry, it's in the pipeline. So now I'm going to come over to my sprays. I've chosen 3 different ones. I've got the shiny IZINKs, which are the rose and the rose pastel. And then also I'm going for the dye spray, which is the rose gold as well. These all work absolutely beautiful together. And what happens when I spray is it just grabs hold of the glitter as well as the fabulous beautiful colours that you've got on there as well. So you can be quite random with it. You can add layers of colour. So now on that transparent that I did before, you can see I added the glitter as the texture, but it doesn't matter what colour glitter you put on. When you're using the spray inks on top of it, it will absorb all that colour and then give you that textured feel as well. So from there, I'm just going to add the final little bit of my shiny rose just over the top, and then I'm just going to pop that to a side for a second. So now we're going to do a little bit of painting. Now, one of the most things I get asked for is painting skin tones. Everyone's like, I love the girls you bring out, but I can't paint skin tones. So simple, and I will show you this process. Very simple. If you've got your Eureka, always work on the top of Eureka, and of course you can easily use it through the acetate as well. Lots of people don't realise that, but the magnets still work through that. So now I'm just going to grab some brushes and we shall start watercolouring. So I've already pre-stamped my beautiful She stamp that I love. She's incredible. And I'm going to be using the INKY watercolours. If you haven't got the INKY watercolours, the gouache paints work equally as well. The only difference is these are much more transparent when your gouache paint is more opaque. So that means you can paint straight onto black card, for instance. You can't with watercolour. That has to go on a much lighter shade of cardstock. This is pre-stamped on watercolour card. I'm using my number 5 brush, which I constantly use because it's my absolute favourite. It's just so easy to control, but obviously that depends. A lot more people prefer chisel to round brush. I just like round. So I'm going to go straight in. I'm going to go on this soft peachy pink. Really, really simple. And we're just going to lay some colour down. Don't feel that it has to look amazing straight away. When you are doing any sort of painting, sometimes you need to layer base colours and then build it up from there. Now, don't you just think this stamp is one of the most incredible stamps ever? It's just so empowering. Cheekbones to die for. Absolutely stunning. Eyes are another one that are absolutely brilliant to paint and work with, but some people obviously do struggle with painting a more realistic eye. Now I'm going for a white skin tone, but obviously this is the exact same process you would use, but just in different colours, obviously, for different types of skin tone. So I'm just bringing this, so it's quite sort of wishy almost with the pink, really simple, and we just add in that colour very easily, adapting over. So you can see here already how simple to get your base, sort of crumb base if you like. So if you was if you're a baker, then this will be your sort of crumb base. Next we're going to go in, I'm going to go in my ochre, which is like a mustardy yellow. To achieve a mustard yellow, all you need to do is yellow, brown and a little touch of orange. So all of these colours can be made individually, but obviously it's up to you whether you prefer that. You can, of course, water down all of the IZINK Pearly as well. They can be painted with. This is my palette that I use, that I'll be showing you in a little while. These are my Pearly inks. I chuck it in a bag and then I just add water to reactivate it. So that's how far you can really use these. So even when they dry, if it's not heat set or it's not on a surface that is majorly porous, so this is like on an acrylic, it just carries on working. So now I'm going to go into my ochre colour, and we're just going to start a tiny bit of shade work around the side of her face. So you're just following the lines, and this is the beauty of every single Imala stamp. We've done the artwork, we've done the hard work. What you need to do is just enjoy creating the art from there. So with the neckline, you've just got to imagine your light. Your light system will work like this. Take two paintbrushes, 2 pens. If you imagine your light source is here, then if I just move my hand out of the way, if your light source is here, then you'll be able to see that's where the light will affect. So this will be darker this side because your light source will be on that side. So that's just how that simply works. Now when you are using watercolour or gouache paints, try not to oversaturate your brush unless that's the effect you're after. If you want to know how to squeeze it out without getting all the colour out of the paint, because what happens when you pick up paint on your paintbrush, the middle of it becomes most absorbent. So all you need to do is go to a separate piece and just rotate it. That takes off that drippy bit that's on the end, okay? So now I'm going to come back and I'm just filling in some shadows. So if we, like I said, the light source is this side, so you're thinking the crease of her arm's going to be a bit darker, a little bit on the neckline, not too much, then a little bit at the side of the arm. Then we're going to go back in, a little bit of water. I'm going to pick up a tiny bit more ochre, but I'm just going to mix it with that pink as well. And then we are just going to continue bringing in the layers. This is the beauty of watercolour. You can go back in, reactivate that paint with a little tad of water, just blend it out with your brush. Super, super simple. I love painting faces. I don't know why, I love it. It's weird, isn't it? So, what has been your favourite Imala stamp from my collections? Now, there's been 16 now. 16 chapters, can you believe that? Honestly, that's 160 stamps that myself and Tony have created for Imala. That just feels crazy, doesn't it? But you can see how easy and achievable watercolour painting can be. Now don't worry if it starts getting a bit mucky. All you're going to do is add some water. If you do it in circles, it blends better rather than stripes. Okay, so rather than just going down and up, if you add that water and then just allow it to mix all together. So now I'm going to come up to her face. I'm going to add a tiny bit of almost like this hot pink, but I don't want too much. And I'm just going to bring a little bit of colour into her cheeks here. It just makes it absolutely sing. So there will be my base. So now we're going to go on to hair. Now, if you've watched any of my lives or any of my things, I either paint them pink, purple, green or blonde. I don't know why. So, you know, don't worry about depending on what colour you prefer, I think. And I think to go with the colours that we're using, I'm going to use a little bit of yellow, but then I'm going to add a lot of pink as well into her hair. So I'm going to go into my mixed pink here. And if you want to go straight in and you've already painted obviously the skin tone there, I can't lean on there, I could lean here. But then you just need to put your brush upright rather than sideways to stop it splurging out. It makes a real big difference. So now I'm just going to pull this pink, and it's quite a light soft pink, and you can see I'm not doing every single section because I want to have varied tones. Obviously the drier your brush, the more pigment you're going to get from that colour. So we're just going to pull that away, tiny tad of water. And then we're just going to add some more colour. And remember from the light source that I showed you earlier, this side will be a lot darker than the lighter side. So again, I'm just running it through. Beautiful. So now I'm going to go on to a little darker pink. So this is more my hot pink, shall I say. And again, use your finger as your stable. If you're trying to paint like this, you're going to really struggle to get into the areas. So if you use your finger as your rest, and then you're just going to pull it up from there. So easy. This is what I love about the whole of everything that we create, is that it's so simple, it's so easy, and it's so adaptable to whatever your style is. So has anyone thought about what's been their favourite Amala stamp yet? Oh, we've had some comments. Who's talking to me on YouTube? Oh, yes, Audrey, the books are phenomenal. Absolutely gorgeous.
And Tina Smith likes the tree book.
Oh, the tree book. That was from chapter 1. Wow. Wow, that feels a blast from the past. Mark, what's been your favourite?
All of them.
All of them?
I think
yeah, Mark is a heavy investor in the Mala.
I think the two that I've really enjoyed were the last ones with the cat and the dog.
Oh, the little faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great day to leave me alone.
Oh, isn't it? Yep. Perfect.
No, not those, there's the other ones, the ones before.
Oh yeah, the other ones.
With the dog.
Oh, the dog with the butterfly.
Yeah.
Yes, and the cat with the face. Oh, yes. Oh, I know the one. Absolutely brilliant. There's just been so many, and that's the thing. Lots of people, you know, love them, and our whole sort of theory is once they've gone, aren't they? Because then we're on to the next chapter. So it's one of them, if you snooze, you lose. It is though, isn't it? It's hard to say, but because we get it all the time, we get messages, you know, oh, but I love that stamp, and you've sorry, it's gone.
I do get bullied.
Which she does.
Well, it is deserved when they're not. Sorry.
You got told off. Okay, so I'm just going to continue doing this. Now, I'm happy with the skin tone. With the hair, I'm just going to do a little bit more work, adding a little bit more light just around. And you can just see how you can build it up. So it's entirely up to you whether you wanted, if you'd be happy to leave that and then move on to the next bit. Completely up to you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start a little bit of work on her eyes. I'm going to go on my lilac. So this is the softest lilac that I have. And again, use my finger as my rest. Make sure your brush isn't too oversaturated. And we're just going to add in a little bit of eyeshadow. So this is how I work with my process. Sometimes I have plans, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just love, like for instance, we had a training day the other day here, and we all got given a mixed bag of stuff, and we just had to make stuff I love that, because you've got no choice of what you're making it from. It's so exciting to be able to just, and that's the way I am. People say to me, have you not got like a really structured plan? And I don't know why. You give me products, I just make stuff. I don't know how it works, how the process, it just, you know, you give me the art stuff and this is what comes. It's just the process. It really, really is. So now I'm just going to come down. I'm going to go back for that really, really hot pink. Make sure I rotate my brush because I'm doing lips now, so I really don't want that to splurge. So just rotate that until I'm happy. Then I'm going to come into the lips and I'm going to first of all do the outline. So just the actual outline of the lips. Then from here I'm going to push that colour from the centre out. And that gives you your light source before you've even started and your shine. So then I'm just going to build up underneath. Just a little touch. I'm going to take the same pink and on top of that lilac, I'm now just going to follow it through with that same pink. Really nice and easy. And obviously you can just keep building it up until you are completely happy with it. And this is the thing, with lots of us artisans, is when do we stop? When do we walk away? So sometimes what I do is when I get to that process of is it done or is it not, I go and have a cup of tea and then I come back and look at it in a minute and then I make a decision then. Because don't forget, every time you use watercolour you get loads of the drying, the pigment is different. Obviously it dries 2 shades lighter than what it is when you put it on as well. So, but with gouache it isn't. Gouache you still get that vibrancy, but watercolour you tend not to. So now I'm going to come on to the eyes and I'm just going to rotate my brush out. And I'm going to go in a little tad of blue. So it's just the very tippy end has got the blue. Again, using my hand to help me. I'm just going to go around the eye, the iris, shall I say. Just a little tad. Really, really simple. Rinse that out. Pop on a little bit of green. Now, even if you just want blue eyes, just add that little subtle bit of green in and it really makes a big difference. It really does.
Leslie on YouTube.
Leslie.
Question.
Yes, sweetheart.
Best colour mix for blonde hair.
Oh, for blonde hair, you need ochre, you need a bright. I'd work in 3 tones. Sorry, what was her name again? Leslie. I would definitely advise that you go for the tri-blend tone. So you go for like a mustardy colour, a really light yellow and a mid-yellow. And you just work with your darkest colour first and you keep using your light to blend it out and use the ochre as your dark tones. I hope that helps. So again, I'm just going to go in that tiny bit of green, rotate my brush so it's not oversaturated. And then we're just going to come in on the eyes, just a little tiny bit, not too much. Let's check her. A little tad. Perfect, there we go. So now I'm going to come down to a dress. Let's have a look at this. I think we'll go in the yellow, you know. Now don't worry if any of your watercolours merge into each other. This happens all the time, it's just travelling. But what you can do is use that to your advantage. So for instance, you can pick up half colours on your pieces of paper, for instance. So if I just rinse this out, I will grab this. So I've got a wet brush here and I'm going to lay it over the 2 colours. So I've got the blue and the pink. Now when I use this, you can pick up your 2 colours and you'll get your blends instantly. So always use that to your advantage. Don't worry if your palette's not clean, it doesn't have to be. It's like anything, I never wash my pots either. Because it's amazing, you know when you've made that perfect colour that you love and then you can't remember how you made it, I bet you've got a little bit of it left somewhere on your palette and then that just sort of jogs your memory of exactly what you need. So I'm going to come back now to this beautiful she. And I'm just going to come down and I'm just going to use a little bit of the yellow over the top. And you can see that just by adding that base colour and then blending with the circle motion that I showed you before, you can very simply pull it away. So I'm just going to bring a little bit of that up, just so it sits perfectly on there. I'm going to go back into my pink now and just finish. This is where you start tidying up. So never expect it to be perfect straight away. You always have to go back in and just finish some of that colour in. Because we all do it, we never paint 100% of the picture straight away. We always leave little white bits, and then you just go back and redo them bits. Really, really simple. So now I'm just going to use my colour just to fill in some of these areas. Really simple. And we'll just pull it round. If you go into a darker, just a tiny little bit, and we're just almost going to do the shadow of the nose down the side. And then what we'll do is I'll just blend that away with a tiny tad of water. So you've still got the illusion of the nose, but obviously we don't want too much straight away. So once we're happy with the colouring of that, we can simply heat set that, and then I'm going to go on now with a white gel pen. Have I got a black pen in there? No, we have a grey. That will be fine. Okay. Oh, what colour is this? I do love a biro. Biros are great. What colour is this? Oh, there we go. Yes, black. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, using my white gel pen, two different things. First thing I'm going to do is go onto that main whites of the eyes. So not too much, you only want a dot on there. And then from the lips, just highlight just a little tad, just to work it all together. Then from here, you can use a biro like I do. You can square up them eyebrows. Just make it a bit stronger, as all the girls do now. There's some big old bad eyebrows, isn't they? And then I'm just going to fill that design in. When you come to the eyelashes, I love exaggerating them. So you're just going to fill all of them beautiful eyelashes, and you're just accentuating the colour that is there already, all of those individual eyelashes, and you're just pulling it round. It just makes such a big difference. It really, really does. So from this point of call, I'm going to come back now to my beautiful, gorgeous background that hopefully is dry. Let's have a little touch. Yep, we're touch dry. So that was literally less than 10 minutes. So you can see how simple it is to create. So now I'm just going to grab some foam pads. And of course you could stamp on top of that background as well if you wanted. That would work equally as well. But I'm just going to use some foam pads to lift it slightly away from the background. And we will be done. And there we go. Quick and simple, mixed media, done. It's so easy, isn't it? It really is, it really is. But when you've got the right tools for the job, it makes such a difference. It really, really does. I hope you enjoyed that little demo. I hope you feel inspired and go and have a look at all our amazing IZINKs. Thank you, thank you. If you are sitting down, I would like maybe if you could rotate and let some others, if that's okay, if you don't mind, just so everyone gets a little sit down and have a look. But I'll leave it on here if anyone wants to look at a bit more closer. It will be there. Oh yeah, take a photo if you want, my sweet, not a problem. It's a Sakura. Sakura white gel pen.
I've got a whole collection. Every
Yeah.
time I want to use one, it doesn't work.
Oh no, oh dear. You can buy refills for the inside. So basically what you do is you can just pull that out and then you get, like, you know, the biro refills. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, these ones are the souffle. They're my favourite. Hi everyone, we're back again for phase 2 of the demos. Oh, I can see you've bought some embossing folders. They're a bit special, aren't they? Yeah. Is I've just done a bit of balloon stenciling on my canvas. Come on, rowdies. Okay, so I've been using the balloon stencil, which is a thirsty brush stencil, and I've just applied a nice thin layer of the stencil over the top with some crackle. These crackle, yes, these are new pastes that we haven't launched yet. These are going to come, I think, with chapter 16. These are your texture pastes. So we have crackle texture, so it naturally crackles on its own. We've got the bead texture, a flaky texture, and a sand texture. So this just gives you loads of different textures and beautiful feels to your project. But remember, because they are white, all of your inks are just going to suck all that up. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. So I want to really quickly show you how to create a beautiful canvas, very quick and simple. So I'm back into my brilliant little pots here. There we go. I'll just turn you so you can see me downwards. There we go. And I'm going to go, first of all, I'm going to go on with a bit of blue. Now with these as well, you've got all that mica at the bottom, so make sure you give it a good old shake to wake it up. It's a bit like the orange, you know, you have to wake it. And I'm just going to spray quite lightly over the top. So not heavy, quite light. Another technique you can use, which I really, really love, is the toilet roll tube technique. And I'll show you this quickly. So rather than just spraying random, if you spray through a tube, you get your blotchy dots.
Who's a clever girl?
I do try. It just, you know, them beautiful blobby dots that look so arty that you can never get perfect if you try with a brush. Just use a toilet roll tube and spray through it.
And you're not making a mess, are you?
I know, isn't it good? Isn't it good? But then again as well, you can use that end. If you want coffee ring stains, just stamp it in your inks. Like I'll take this one. So I'll stamp straight onto that. Come back over here, go over the same bit again. So now you get your coffee ring with your spill. Ooh. These are the kind of things I find out indoors when I'm playing with inks.
You could do the same with the kitchen roll one.
Of course you could.
Yeah, that'd be a bit
Of course it'd be a bit bigger as well, yep.
different size.
So you can see already, just by that one little spray that I did, I've already started to build up some colour. So now I'm going to come down and I'm going to go into my purple. Now this is quite a heavy purple, so you want to spray slightly over your previous colour but still have enough to come down to blend. Then I'm going to go on with my rose. So again, keeping it light, keeping it up. I'm going to go in a bit darker pink now. And you can see how it's all starting to blend together. I'm going to finish off with a little tad of gold just at the bottom there. So now that is ready to go, I'm going to use a little bit of heat just to lock some of that colour in. And you can see how the crackle really comes into its own now. Absolutely beautiful. I love spray inks. Honestly, I was so excited when I found out that I was going to be able to work with these beautiful inks. So now I've just got my good old trusty fan brush, really saturated, so it's dripping wet. And we're just going to tap over. And this is where almost like the oxide starts working. You know, like how you add water to like Tim Holtz Distress Oxides? Very similar technique, and then you get that sort of rain pattern. So now once I add my bit of water and my heat, you get the most incredible effects, and it's so effortless. That's what I love about it. I haven't got to work at it. I haven't got to keep moving things around. If you want the more drip effect, you simply tip and chase it with the hot glue heat gun, or you can just fixate on that colour, and if you don't want it to move, just keep it above and keep going up and down. So you will have an incredible background ready to go. And of course, if I wanted more, I could watercolour over the top of this. I could add more spray. But especially when you add that ink on top of the crackle, it gets in all of those little creases and just creates the most phenomenal background. So that's my background already. Let me show you. Really, really simple. It just works beautifully. And of course I could stamp and emboss on top of that. I could add a sentiment. I mean, with papers as well, it's exactly the same effect. I'll show you quickly. So I've got a bit of stamp board here. Now there's different effects you can do as well with this. You can wet the paper before you spray, and I'll show you the difference. So I'm going to go on with my pink, and I'm going to go on with the water. Can you see? You can start moving it around. Or if you go on dry, it sits and absorbs. So there's lots of different textures and styles that you can do with this. If you want to learn how to do the drip effect with this, super simple. Take an edge, get your fan brush, paint that edge with your water, allow it to come down. Then what I do is I will spray into my messy box, pick up that colour, same brush, and you'll just paint it along and watch it drip down. As it dries, dry it off. And this looks beautiful, you know, with the silhouette sort of black stamping, absolutely stunning, especially like skylines and things, really, really gorgeous. So once I've got that effect, rinse my brush, add more water, bit more water. So you can do it rainbow colours, whatever you like. And obviously if you want it to stop dripping there, you just dry it the opposite way to stop it continue down. But it's beautiful because you can keep layering up. The pigment is so gorgeous with these. So simple to create the most incredible backgrounds. So now I'm going to go on again, a bit more water, and I think I'll grab the gold. I just never have enough hands. So I'm just adding a little bit more, but look at the micro. Isn't it lush? And this is where you can get really arty and start really enjoying yourself. So for instance, the Northern Lights, this would work perfect with that. You could use that almost as your baseline and then exaggerate that colour down from that. Well, personally, I would probably stamp it in the IZINK dyes and then allow the layering of the, add a bit of water as well on top, so it will drip slightly because then you'll get a shadow effect. And then with the darker colour, go on top. It's so pretty. Isn't it? Me too. Me too. They are incredible, and this is it. Especially if you've got that silhouette design, like a skyline. For instance, maybe you've got the cityscape, something like that. This effect will really make it come. It's gorgeous. Yes, 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 exactly. Or the Istanbul one that I believe Tony's got as well. That would work from the Unstoppable collection. I do love that collection. It's so cool. But it just shows the different sort of styles and effects. I mean, going from these are the same colours pretty much, and yet it's all about how you apply it and how you dry it. Really, it's so easy. And it's just beautiful to work with. Now, all of this in my messy box. Can I have a wipe, please, Helen? I'll show you what I do, because you know I don't waste nothing. Well, I have to be, because I get the heebie-jeebies when people throw stuff away. So what I'll do is I'll pick all of this up out of my messy tray. And that's been dry in there, but look, it still wipes clean. So now I've got this. This will go straight on to my stamp board. And then that's another background done. Now remember, if you're using inks on top of your Eureka, always pick up the colour.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's so easy.
Is that a wet wipe?
Yeah,
Wet wipe.
yeah, it's a wet wipe.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, it all depends on your own sort of personal style.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? But then what I would probably do, oh, like a gold frame. So then again, now I'm just spraying a couple of colours. I've gone for the shiny spray in the rose, and then the mid rose as well. So the mid rose is in the middle. I'm going to grab my wet fan brush, and I'm just going to work through them almost in like a sort of snake effect, so it's quite sort of snaky. And I'm just going to lay that in. And if you dry it in between, you get more textures. Oh yes, exactly. So now I'm just going to pop that in there. Make sure I use all of that ink up. And of course, if I wanted more rain splats on there.
Is that watercolour card?
This is stamp board.
Oh, right.
We sell it in the shop. So now I'm just going over with a little flick of water. Then you'll get that oxide feel. So it can be, I start doing pink again, and I always end up doing pink and blue until they're like my ultimate favourite colours. And I've really been trying not to use them, but I always end up just making them again. But look at that, add in that little bit of water over the top, just gives you another dimension on top. So now I'm going to emboss on this little one. Where's my stamp? I'm going to go for the beautiful Extraordinary. This is from the last collection with them gorgeous brides, and the reason we chose this is because it's much easier to stamp skin tones rather than painting them. So if you're a newbie, this is great, but then also you've got that silhouette as well on there. So I'm going to take one of these, and of course these are beautiful polymer stamps. Think about as well, you can inlay these beautifully into air drying clay. That works lovely. Just make sure you clean it off straight after. So now I'm just going to take her to the side, pop that in there, then I shall grab some black embossing. This is IZINK again.
That would be good for wedding, doing stuff for weddings, wouldn't it, with the air drying clay?
Definitely, definitely. You could do save the dates, you could do wedding decor.
Yeah.
So much. Now when you are applying any of these inks, I'm holding this up for a reason so you can see how I'm doing it. On the darker sections that are the full black, just always make sure they have at least 4 taps. I don't know why 4 is the magic number, but it is. It just works for me. So now I'm going to bring her down. Bit of fingertip dancing over the top, just to create a beautiful pre-stamped image. I mean, look how crisp that is straight away.
Lovely.
Before I've even embossed her. So now, oh, thanks for emptying my tray. You are good to me. Now, have you seen the IZINK embossing powders? These are so luxurious and fine. They're beautiful. If you've not seen the texture before, super fine. So now I'm just going to go over the top. Tap off that excess. Now, 2 different ways of heating. You can heat underneath, it takes twice as long though, it's up to you, or you can go straight on from the top. And you'll see how quickly they change. This is what I love about these. There's nothing worse than if you're applying an embossing powder and you think, I'm working, and it's just not activating. With these, they're super quick, super crisp. They're just perfect. They really, really are. And they just emboss an absolute dream. We do them in multiple different colours. We do them in the crystal, the silver, and of course the clear and the gold. But it's just so beautiful to create. They're just really nice. Yeah, it is. That's what I love about it. It's so shiny. They're really, really rich, and they're so fine. Get yourself one with a little spout. It makes it easier to put it back. Thank you. Or to get Helen to put it back in the pot for you. So now I'm just going to add some more detail to this. Because now this is dry and all luscious, let's stamp something beautiful on here. So I've got multiple different stamps that I love at the moment. I've brought all my favourites with me today. I'm going to use one of the Crafts Academy stamps by me. I'm going to use Let's Get Lost with that incredible balloon collection. I love it. It's so pretty. And it's just so like free and happy, isn't it? So I'm going to add the balloons, but I'm just going to add them slightly offset to one side. And then, of course, I'm going to add my sentiment as well. Now, these were released a few weeks ago now. I do believe we do have these, and these work perfectly, actually, with the balloon stencil as well. So let me just move that out the way. I'm just going to pick this up. Just pick that stamp up, super quick and simple. Add your black ink over the top. Do you know what? It's so nice to go back to using inks with proper lids, because lots of them have the flip lid, and then I always end up getting black finger, which is not fun. So I'm just adding a little bit of ink over the top. Then we'll bring this down. Just apply some pressure on the top. There we go. And now I'm going to go back in now with my watercolours. Or actually, I think what I might do is let's paint with, thank you, my love. Let's paint with the sprays. So I'm just going to use a lid for at the moment, and I'm going to use the IZINK spray. So I'm going to have a bit of the pink, a bit of the gold. Honestly, you keep anything near me, I'll use it as a palette. It's ridiculous. Yeah, honestly, I love these. I just absolutely love them. Because they're so easy, and then if it dries, you just throw them away. So simple. Yeah, I've stopped the days now where I make everyone in the family buy the really expensive, beautiful puddings, so you get the glass ramekin. I did that for years. I was like, no, I need them as water pots. Yeah, that was my excuse. So now I've got a wet brush. Go straight in. You can see how beautiful and opaque it is, but it still has got that really rich microfil, and you can paint directly on there with it. Absolutely incredible. And of course, the richer the pigment, the more vibrancy you get. But also, it's the stamp board I'm working on. The stamp board is a great, beautiful canvas that is just waiting to absorb all that lovely ink and texture, and it's one of my favourite things to work on. Of course, all of these colours, when they dry, are going to have that beautiful micro iridescent. So I'm going to take this green now, and you can mix them together as well. Don't think because they're sprays you can't mix. You can still mix them together and use them very simply. Absolutely beautiful. I think I need a bit of blue. We got blue. Haha. Oh look, I'm back on the blue and pink. There we go. So I'm just going to add a little bit of blue, a little bit of water, and then I'm just going to work just on the top to highlight some of this colour. Again, pink. And it just sings. It really, really does. Absolutely incredible. Every single one of these inks just complements whatever you are creating. It really, really does. So now I'm going to get my wet brush, my fan brush, and I'm going to overlay. Now if I bring this here. So it's really, really wet. I'm going to go in the blue half, but then half in pink as well. Make sure you get really good soaking of that. Now you'll get your double splats. Pick up a little bit of that gold, just so it accents perfectly with that as well. So I'm just going to heat set this. I've always got an itchy nose and I've got glitter on my hands. Have we got the gold IZINK? There is, thank you. So now we're here. So from here, I'm going to take some glitter paste and I'm just going to use my finger. Pick up a very tad, and you're just going to work along that edge. So it's almost like you're brushing it on, but you're taking it off, if you know what I mean. So you get that really nice dusty effect. And you can just create so many amazing textures using this. It's absolutely phenomenal. I love IZINKs not only because they're super rich in pigment, I love the fact that they're affordable. Lots of inks that are on the market are incredible, but I just don't like the price tag. Because the thing is, if you're like me, you don't just want one, you want the whole lot. And I know that myself and Tony, we know exactly how that is. So that's why we brought you IZINK, so you can still buy it and not feel guilty. So on this last piece, I've just gone around the edges. I'm just going to take a little bit and just add a little bit of light to some of these. There we go, dry it off. Yeah, very similar, but without all the flakes and the mess and yeah. But then it gives you that sort of gritty texture on it as well.
I don't know, it looks very French, doesn't it? Ooh la la.
Ooh la la. So that's just another quick technique to show you how much you can do. I mean, I've been using, these are the pastels.
That's nice.
Really lovely. Again, on stamp board. You can die cut this. It die cuts. You do have to put it through a few times, but it die cuts perfectly. There's so much you can do with that. And then the more brighter ones we have, they're not so shiny, they're more matte. So that's how you can create much more grunge effects, a little bit darker. Then the ones that I've just created, obviously I've done that one. We've got the crackle on there. So if I wanted to go back in now and add more layers, I could do that very, very simply. I could go over either using my finger or, which I think I will, you know. Let's do it. Who's stopping me? Oh, look, and she's cleaning me as well. Everyone needs a Helen. She doesn't come with the stamps though, sorry. That would be nice, wouldn't it? So I'm going to go with the diamond, the purple. And again, just use your finger. I love getting really in with my art. It just makes me so happy. So now what I'm doing is, rather than just going around the edge, I'm just going to one side. And you can use your palette knife if you prefer. But I like just adding that little bit of colour over the crackle, over the layers of inking. And you can very easily, because what it does is it doesn't sit on top, it sits around. So then you get that really nice sort of silhouette of it. You can add the gold. Did I put the gold back? Yes, thank you. So you can mix colours together. So for instance, I'm going to have a little blob of gold, a little blob of purple. And you can just add different layers on top. There we go. It's luscious, isn't it? Super nice. So there we go. Thank you so much. I'll be back in about 5 minutes to show you some more. Thank you. Yep, yep, exactly. Hey? Yeah, no one's got any toilet roll in the house. Oh, yeah, they use them for potting.
Yeah, and all sorts of things like that, so. My daughter sorted all the sewing kit out into all little them tubes, so it's all nice and tidy.
Nice.
All decent for me.
Then to finish, I would just add. So you don't want to push, you just want to wipe lightly, because if you push you get a splurge. Plus it's a bit of a waste of ink. And then that will look almost embossed. We was, sorry. They wooed me into it.
You can't help yourself, don't you?
You know what they're like, they made me do it. It's Roxy's fault, she did it.
I always get the blame.
Yeah. Oh, it's so nice to put faces to people, isn't it? Because you all know what I look like. I'm like, I don't know what anyone looks like.
I met Caroline when I was coming in, and we've been friends for about 5 or 6 years online, and I've never met her.
You never met, she's lovely, she's lovely. She's so talented. I know, I thought she did. Looks incredible. Yeah, she sent me a bag and then she brought me a t-shirt. She's
And my 2 girls all times.
brilliant. That's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. Of course you can, my sweet. I love your cat case. I'm a crazy cat lady.
Says that's me when I'm nice, and that's me when I'm.
Oh, charming. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have a quick cup of tea, I think. Okay, okay. I'm just gonna have a quick cup of tea, friends on YouTube, and hopefully I'll be back within a couple of minutes. Thank you. Hi friends, we're back again. Sorry that was a bit longer than 10 minutes. I took ages to find the kettle. Or it took ages for Helen to find the kettle. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to do a bit of fabric work. So these are really cheap, inexpensive canvas bags. You can buy them from loads of different places. I buy them in bulk. And basically you need to put a piece of card within, because otherwise it's going to saturate through. So I'm just going to add it to one side. I always prefer to stamp with to the side that way, because then otherwise if you've got your handle and everything in there, it's not going to stamp as well. You should iron it really before you start, but obviously I'm here and I'm not going to. So again, even though I'm using the Eureka, you can still use your magnets. They will go through all of that fabric, all of that paper that we've got underneath there. And the stamp that I'm going to be using is one of my favourite. It's the Loving Couple. I love it because it's so sketchy and hand drawn and just beautiful. So I'm going to take my stamp. I'm going to go straight on, very, very simply. Then I'm just going to pick it up onto my Eureka. Now, I'm going to be using some VersaFine just because I want to paint straight on it and I need it to dry fast. So if I was using the embossing or the dye inks, it would take much longer to dry, because then I wouldn't be able to paint straight away on top. So I'm just going to add a little bit of ink, very, very simply over the top. Then we're going to come down and simply push through that colour. Now, if you try to go back and stamp over, you always make sure the fabric hasn't stretched, because otherwise you're going to have that slight overlap of colour of stamping. So just give it a good old push down, nice and easy. And already you can see that we're ready to go. So now I'm going to take this away, keep the paper in there, use your Eureka as your platform to paint on top of, and of course your magnets will still work through the top of your Eureka to keep it into position. So now what I'm going to do is grab my Pearly Paints on my acrylic palette. You can just reactivate these with water, it's really, really not a problem. And of course everything mixes beautifully together. So I may add a bit more colour on that one. Let's have a look. So I'm going to go straight on with the colour. Let's add a bit more. This is the beauty of having a lovely little trolley next to me. So I want a bit more yellow. These are the pearlies that I'm using, but you can still use the glitters. You can still use all the different colours. So there we go. I'll add a little tad of pink to the side. Don't want the glitters and the white. They smell so nice. Have you smelt them? No. Do you want to have a smell?
Yes, please. I love the smell of paint.
Here we go. Have a little sniff.
Hi, Carley.
No, there's no toxins in it whatsoever. They're completely child safe and non-toxic, acid free, so don't worry. But they smell so lovely. Don't they smell nice? Do you know what I mean? Oh, not up your nose.
Nice colour blush, actually.
Oh, yeah. It's good, isn't it? They don't smell toxic. Honestly, crafters know. It's like paper. If you know it is high quality paper, the smell is miles apart from all the others.
Tracy loves the palette that you use.
Oh, Tracy loves the palette. Oh, what this? My little, my beautiful acrylic. Yeah. We do have paper ones of these as well, which are quite handy. Throwaway palettes. We've got them out there. I think it's the Himi. Yeah, we've got them on there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water to some of this colour. Of course, rotate your brush.
Do you
and we can just paint straight on. And it's brilliant because even though it's such rich in pigment, you can still get so much tonal work with it as well. This is why I need my lid. Did you see that then? I went, no.
All the time.
I have done it a million times and then I wonder why all my stuff looks vintage. Oh, because you've painted it in tea. It happens. So I'm going to take a little bit of this pink now. This is the pearly pink. I'm going to bring a bit down here. I'm going to take a little tad of white and I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow. Mixing them together, a bit more pink, there we go. This is where your skin tone starts coming in to effect. So you can mix all these colours. For instance, if you use, let me think, blue, red and green, it makes the most fantastic rose gold. So get playing and mixing all these colours. So you can see already I'm starting to add a little bit of skin tone colour now. And again, I'm using my number 5 brush, which I just find, it's just, for me, it's the perfect brush. It's small, it's enough to get detail, but you can still cover quite large areas with it. So now I'm going to go back into that yellow, come over to my skin tone, bit of rotate in, and then you can mix them together. So again, just mixing it up. So I hope Wendy's enjoying from Australia, bless her. She's having a right late night. Staying up with us. Although I can talk, I was watching the Olympics this morning. Do you know skateboarding's in the Olympics this year? It's incredible, isn't it?
And isn't our entrant the youngest?
Yeah.
Is he?
To be in the, it's a girl.
She's 30.
Really?
She's the youngest person ever to enter the Olympics.
Oh, good for her. Oh, her family must be
She's
so
British.
proud. Oh, how lovely. I do love the Olympics. I think the gymnastics and swimming for me.
I love the gym.
I love the gymnastics. On the rings.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, aren't they? Absolutely phenomenal.
And on the beam when they do,
How do they do that? I know, it's incredible. So I'm just looking for a darker colour to add. Let's have a look. Have we got any? It's all right, I can make it. I'll make it. So I'll mix a tiny tad of blue to make my green.
she's amazing.
I followed gymnastics since I was about 7. And I was a gymnast.
So you can use fabric pens if you prefer, but I love using the IZINK Pearly. I think it just gives it that beautiful iridescent feel, but it's so simple to create as well. So I'm going to go in, and you're just layering your colours. Really, really easy. I love this stamp. If you want that hand-drawn effect, this is the most perfect stamp to use for that. Also, it's iconic, isn't it? It really reminds me as well. You know, like, I don't know if you've seen, it's a really old album. It's a Bob Dylan album, I think. And they're sort of standing there, the couple, and he's got his hand in her pocket. I can't think what it is.
Wendy's still with us.
Oh, Wendy, you're still with us. Hiya, Wendy. Can't believe she's still with us.
Lots of people commenting.
Yeah, there's about 30 people online.
There's 68 people at the
Is
minute.
there? Any oh, so I can't see any familiar face.
There probably are.
Yeah. Oh.
It's all of the wonderful friends that couldn't come,
Yeah.
that are all over the world.
That's so lovely. We are lucky. We are very lucky. Say hello to them.
Yeah. So I'm just going in. Of course, she's got blue hair.
And why not?
Yeah, exactly. So if you want it much thicker and much more vibrant, you almost push it into the fibres, if you know what I mean, rather than painting with it. You're sort of stippling it in. So you could go on with a sponge if you preferred. That would work really well. So now I'm going to come down, let's have a look at her trousers. I think I'll make a little mix here. This is what I do, I just mix things. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll add a bit of that. Bit of that there. There we go. So with a lot of Aramala stamps, lines tend to be your shaded areas. So because of that, all you need to do is slightly adapt your colour work and just make it slightly bit darker. So it's nice and easy to adapt, and of course you've got all of those crease effects. It's funny how a simple line drawing, once it all comes together, it's incredible. So I'm just going to stretch that out slightly, and of course just leave it to dry. What are you smiling at? Oh, what is the album?
Freewheeling.
Freewheeling! Well done, thank you.
Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy. She's my new best friend. Honestly, me and names of songs are just the way. You know when you can see the album? I can see it, but I don't never know what it is. So I'm going to mix now a bit more of a zesty green.
Just let you know, Daphne's watching from Canada.
Oh, hi Daphne from Canada. Hope you're doing well. What's the time over there? I wouldn't even have a clue. Don't know. I think they're about 6, aren't they? 7 hours in front. Oh, how wonderful. It's brilliant. I love the fact that we can all still stay connected wherever we are in the whole world.
Tracy says hello to the Eureka family.
Hey! They're all here.
We're having a party now.
We are.
Hey! It's 9:52 a.m. in Canada.
Is it? Wow. Are you enjoying yourself over there? See? You lost being a crafter. Just be a tech. You're going to be my new tech gal.
Don't know why I bother crafting at all.
It's like Roxy, the lady that come earlier. She's an avid artisan on the Amala, and she's the one that always checks my sound to make sure that I'm coming through. And the thing is, I've never met her before, so it was so lovely to put a face. Because like she's like, yeah, I'm your sound girl. I'm like, oh, it's you.
10 minutes left. That's my input today.
Is that all I'm getting?
10 minutes left.
You're going to put do-do-do-do. So I'm just going
Paint in a bag. Who would have thought?
oh yeah.
Looks great.
Does look great.
It's not too shabby, is it? Not too bad. And it dries really quickly. That's what I love about it.
Do you have to do anything to waterproof it?
All you'd need to do is iron it on the reverse on a 30, and then you can wash it at 40. Well, you could if you wanted. If you're not going to wash it, then it don't matter, does it?
Only lucky people get washed.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, maybe get someone else to iron it. Just delegate it, darling, just delegate it out. That's the kind of thing I would do. So I'm going to add my yellow, and I'm going to add a little tad of darker green, but still quite a lot of yellow.
Did you buy those bags off like Amazon or something?
Yeah, Hobbycraft, anywhere like that. Yeah, you can buy them in bulk as well. I think on eBay there's quite a few sellers that sell them in bulk. So now where I've picked up the green and the yellow together, you know, like I showed you on that piece of card earlier where you can pick up the two colours together. So you rotate your brush, so half of it's green, half of it's yellow. So when
From the DT said, what's an iron?
yeah, I don't know. I don't even own an ironing board, so I have no idea. I'm one of these people that I take it out of the washing machine, I shake it, I put it on a hanger. Kids' clothes, everything. I don't do ironing. And then you've got my poor old mum that like irons underpants.
Yeah, my mum used to do it.
What is that about?
Tea towels underpants.
Yeah, what is that about?
Do you?
Why?
In the drawer.
They won't fit in the drawer.
Life's too short.
Oh yeah. I don't do matching socks though. I'm one of these very odd people.
So, yeah, she
Yeah,
takes them.
exactly.
Tracy says, Wilka sell them for £1 each.
Ah, Wilco's.
Trust her to put
And
bags, not
and
irons.
said, you look like a smile on a sunny day.
Oh, I love that. Thank
Jan
you.
Riley says, hi all, Jan from Spain.
Oh, hi Jan from Spain. Hope you're having a lovely day. Aren't we? It's incredible.
Global.
It's exciting. Right, let's have a little bit of what we got here. White, white, white. No, no, no. I'm going to add a little bit of glitter, I think. So you can still paint with the glitters. They become transparent as well.
We had a bit of water to them. Yeah.
Add a bit of water, blend it out. You can mix it in with other colours. So I've got the teal and the purple on there. As long as you keep that paper underneath, because if you don't have the paper, then you're just going to slide everywhere. There we go. And if you do your main lines first, so your outside border lines, add a few more. Bit more water, make it a bit more transparent, and then you can just drag it across the fabric. It works just as well with stencils, with all of the beautiful diamond ink, the texture paste, they all will go on fabric.
Did you put a tea towel or something over the top to heat?
Yeah, you could do, or a bit of, my favourite is a bit of, you know, the oven-proof paper.
Yeah.
I love a bit of that. Well, yeah, I don't buy it to use it in the oven. I use it because I print or stamp on tissue paper. Then you get yourself a candle. You heat it slightly, wrap it in the brown paper, heat it slightly, then you rub it, and I don't know how it works, but the image comes off the tissue paper on the candle. You can do it with photos too.
Maybe you should do a class. Have you done a class on that?
I haven't, no, maybe I should. It's really fun to do actually, and it's so ridiculously silly that it works so simply. You're like, you can't really get your head around how it works, but it does.
Different mixed media classes.
Yeah. Speak to the boss. So I'm going to come back and do a bit more work on the hair, a little bit of tidying up over here. Let's have a look, I'm happy with that. A little bit of work on that shoe. It's more about, with the loose painting, you don't have to be perfect. It's more about the illusion of colour to complete the image. So you don't have to make sure it's exact, for instance. Sometimes just filling that area with the colour makes it look so much nicer. I'm going to just go in the light here, add a bit of blue, I'm happy with that. I think I may just have a little bit of gold. Ooh! So again, I'm mixing now the sprays with the Pearly Paints. And you can just add much more definition with that. And there we go. A quick, simple tutorial on how to paint a bag. Thank you.
I love his glitter trousers.
Oh, I know. I can't stop myself, can I? Where is this man? But it just shows how simple, and just mixing it all together. Obviously you can mix the sprays, you can buy the smaller bottles now that you can mix all the different sprays together. They work an absolute dream. And of course you could add the sentiment. You could stitch around that outline if you wanted, or you could just go in with a fine liner. As long as it's a permanent pen, not a problem, if you wanted to make it a much more crisper image. But I quite like it soft.
Yeah, I do. He's got to be a rock star.
Oh, he's got to be, isn't he? Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you. So feel free to take any pictures of any of the work that I've created if you want. I just quickly wanted to show you as well a really simple method. Let me grab. Oh, yeah, shiny, shiny. Shiny, shiny. I do love shiny, shiny. So, has anyone yet invested in a jelly plate?
Yes. Yes. I've got a round one.
Okay, what have I done with mine? Where's my jelly? It's there. Okay, so jelly plates.
I watched the tutorials.
Yeah, they're brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Put those on a jelly plate.
What? Yeah,
The pearly.
of course you can.
That's a thin one, Mine's really thin.
Mine's really.
It doesn't really matter really what size they are, it really doesn't matter. But then on here what we can do is we can go straight on with the sprays.
I got video iridescent paints. And the blue. Oh, it's amazing. See the gold.
So now I'm just going to take a little slip of gold from the glitter.
They were half price. But honestly, the iridescent was beautiful. Oh.
There we go. A little bit of water. So I've mixed the glitter with 3 different sprays. I'm going to go straight on. And don't forget the stencils. You can stamp on your jelly plate as well.
And you can take the stamp off.
Yeah, and get the image.
Did you put leaves on?
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally different effects. And then of course you can heat. Perfect. One of my favourite things to do is mask off a line and then go in, and then when you take that off you can just put your lovely little sentiment on there, and then you could do that drip effect from the line as well down in the gold. So now look at the textures that is created. This is just like super smooth. It's not even watercolour, it's just super smooth. So I could go back in, take another print of that.
Call it pulling a print, don't they?
Yeah. And you'll just see, with the shiny sprays, you get the most beautiful micro feel. Adding that little bit of glitter. There we go, it's a wipe. Oh dear, it's knocking everything over. So just wipe it off, and it will completely come off as well. All of the glitter. Don't waste that. Go back in and fill your spaces. There we go. It's so different, isn't it? So that's using the little flicks that I use with the spatula with the diamond glitter. And then, of course, the sprays straight on your jelly plate. I find when you're using your sprays on the jelly plate, you get a much more fluidy feel than you do on a glass mat. For some reason, it just picks it up better. It really does. So then I could stencil over the top of this if I wanted. Let's have a little stencil. I'll have some dye ink. So I'm using the IZINK dyes now. Always tap off your excess. Sorry, wibbling you. On top. You can even go on top again. So think about layering, the different types of layering that you can do, whether you're using backgrounds with the micro, and then of course the stencils go straight over the top. Like even if I wanted to go to a full colour area. Look at that. It's really nice. I could emboss that as well on top if I wanted as well, because the inks are so juicy that they stay quite wet for a long time. Sorry, can I give you that? So there we go. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you feel inspired and go away and make beautiful, pretty things. Thank you as well. You at home at watching me on YouTube. I feel super special and privileged that you've decided to join me today. I'm so sorry you missed out.